This is coffee number 5. I'm your host, Lara Schmoisman, and we are live on Facebook. And as you always say, welcome back to coffee number 5. Today, I'm drinking tea, no coffee, but I'm making an exception because I already drank too much coffee. And as everyone knows in the audience, I'm not that young anymore. And there are a lot of things that I had to learn as I go. Like today, there are so many online trainings that you can take for anything you want to learn. Even I have an online training that teach you the ecosystem. But influencer marketing, it's something really, really new. And I want to talk a little more in depth on how the brands work with influencers, because it's something that I do a lot with my clients. So I invited Alessandro Bogliari. That's how you say it? Almost. Okay, just tell it to me with the Italian accent. I need to hear that.
Alessandro Bogliari.
Then I have it right. Well, thank you so much for being here at Coffee Number 5.
Thank you for having me.
So how did you start with this? How did you find that there was actually a niche for influencers marketing? And tell us a little more how an agency works with their clients, that their brands, in finding influencers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it started actually, I think, maybe 5 years ago or something like that, when I was in Copenhagen, Denmark. So I was still in Europe, and I was transitioning from like growth marketing, so helping companies getting more clients, especially for like platforms and SaaS. I was seeing like something that was definitely interesting. Influencer marketing was already like called in that way, but it was a bit different. Was coming from the buzz marketing of blogs. Instagram was getting more powerful day by day. So long story short, I started studying that. I was still actually finishing my master degree in digital innovation management, and I wrote my thesis on influencer marketing. So I was like, there is not that much in the academia about influencer marketing. So I was already working in that space for another company, and it was like the informative side of the influencer marketing. Okay, so after spending several months on that, it was like, I mean, I know what does it mean to be in a marketing agency. I know everything now about influencer marketing. So I was like, why don't I start actually an agency just about this? And so I moved to Miami. I started different things with other people. Then I said, you know what, let's go by myself. I actually co-founded the Influencer Marketing Factory not even 3 years ago. But let's say that we even went even more niche. We went only on TikTok at the beginning. And this was like 3 years ago when TikTok was still at the beginning, and not a lot of people were thinking it as a marketing channel, Again, I saw a blue ocean there. I was definitely not the first to open up an agency for influencer marketing. There were already several out there, but maybe there was something still missing, between having an influencer marketing agency, also working not just on the creativity, but also on the data, on, having your clients always happy on certain metrics and KPIs. And let's go with that. Let's focus on TikTok. It's something new. No one else is offering that. And we started getting, since the beginning, fantastic clients. I'm talking about Sony Music, Warner Music, Universal Music Group, Google, Snap, Dunkin', Bud Light, and many others. Because again, they wanted to do TikTok. It was something new, and we were one of the few, influencer marketing agency offering that. And then, after that, we started growing. And I can tell you more about that maybe later. But yeah, this what happened in the last, I'd say, not even 3 years.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Someone who has a store or a business and say, okay, I want to work with the influencer marketing. So they will approach you. And something that I always recommend is my clients need to understand that there are different levels of influencers. I want to explain the different levels of influencers that we have, that from nano, macro, and all of those. Yes. That's what it means.
Of course. I mean, first of all, it depends really on which social media you are on, right? Because a nano influencer, or maybe let's say differently, macro influencer on Instagram might be seen as a medium influencer on YouTube, and might be seen as a micro influencer on TikTok, right? Mm-hmm. So sizes of following is different depending on geolocation, depending on industry. and so on. Like if you're like into crypto nowadays, it's a bit better. But if you were looking at people in the crypto, like, 1 year ago, you were able to find only people with a small following because it was really niche. So it's important to understand that whenever depending like the social media and also your strategy, but a lot of the times, especially maybe a store that are like locally in a place, right? So they want to look for someone specifically in a place. The best would be usually to go with, different micro influencers from the same area that might most probably are going to have other friends and their influence in their neighbor or the area of the city. And so instead of just trying to bid on one big macro influencer, maybe you can have like 10 micro ones, that are going to do their work, right? In trying to influence the others, maybe come to your store or doing certain actions and so on. So one thing is the size, micro, medium, macro, celebrity influencers, you can have it in different ways. But what I want to say all the time is that nowadays, luckily, it's not just anymore about the number of followers, right? Of course, this is something also like it's several years that people say it's not just about the following, it's about the engagement rate, the type of content, the historical data, how many people were actually able to bring you to the store or to download an app.
How can you get that?
So the data, there are like, I'd say a couple of ways. More than a couple, of course, but if I had to make it really simple, there are like a couple. So the first, it might like sound as common sense, but it is to reach out to influencers and ask them the data. So, and we could also cover how to reach out to influencers. That is also a big mistake.
Yes, I want to hear that.
We can definitely talk about that. But like one of the first and easy way is definitely to reach out to influencers and tell them more about your project, about your store, about your brand, whatever, and ask them like, in order for me to understand if you are the right fit, I need to see your demographic breakdown. I'm talking about age split, gender split, geolocation. You usually want to see the first 3 countries and even the biggest cities, okay, of audience.
So normally it's called like a media kit.
Exactly. So in a media kit, you usually have that. You have pricing, like, for one story, and a YouTube video and an Instagram post. You can have a bundle, So that is definitely something you can ask directly. And usually those data, at least in terms of demographics, if they send you screenshots from their phone, is 100% accurate. Unless they don't change something in Photoshop, but that's the data taken directly from, let's say, Instagram analytics, So,
yeah, but it would be really silly because as an agency, and that's why it's something that normally you want to do it with an agency in the middle, because we have other tools that we pay a lot of money for those tools to be able to get that information correct.
Exactly, and in fact that was the other way. So depending on your budget, if you do not have a budget, it's going to be more manual, and you're going to have to ask directly to the people. Or there are like a plethora of platforms that goes from $20 a month up to $100,000 a month.
What's your favorite platform?
I have a different range, and we also have like different ways to do things. I like a lot Hypoditor, Hypauditor, Hypoditor. It's a tool that has many free tools, and then you can go on a monthly subscription. That, to be honest, not that expensive compared to other tools. So that one, I like it. There are like many others. I don't want to get too much technical or spending too much time on that. There are like several. What I all the time suggest it is to don't take like anything that is expensive thinking that is going to be better, because a lot of platforms, unfortunately, might be really expensive. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars per year if it's an enterprise, or some tens of thousands of dollars per year, even just for medium level. And they might offer you the same that you can find also with cheaper platforms. The majority of these, unless it's all script data, right? The majority of these platforms. Some others, they're like vetted influencers. So it means that they requested, their own data. But again, I don't want to get too much technical. Just to say, my biggest advice is like, start small, especially if you do not know about influencer marketing. Start small, go with like maybe free trials on platforms, start spending a little bit. And then if you need more, you can always upgrade. But a lot of platforms, they ask you like 1 year of commitment, and it's really difficult to, run away from those contracts. So again, for everyone that is listening, they want to test out things. Go with something on a cheaper level, see if you like it.
Also, it's something really important for you to start when you're working with influencers. You need to know that you're working with people. So like you were saying before, asking this media kit is a great way to validate that information that they're sending is correct. Because if they're sending you incorrect information, which happens, is maybe something that you need to take in account by the time of choosing to work with that person or not.
100%. What I say all the time, spend a bit more time in funding the influencers, analyzing their data, than trying to rush it. And then you're going to maybe pay extra money just because you didn't check analytics, in the proper way. So I know it's boring. Sometimes it takes time. It's time consuming.
You're talking to a geek, so I love those things. Anyway, okay, you throw that out there. So now I need to know how we communicate with an influencer. How would we approach an influencer?
Yeah, so it really depends if you go solo in-house, or you go with an agency. So
let's go going solo.
Solo, do not blast emails to everyone. No one likes to be one of the many, okay? So if you are reaching out to someone, let's say an Instagram influencer, you want to show this person that you actually spend time on their profile. You want to check if they are a good fit. Maybe you can mention like, I saw that a month ago, you were in this place, and we do have a store there, and this and that. And since you have this tone of voice, this type of audience, and this type of content, like it was like you are showing this person that actually you really spend time and you want that person. It's not just plus.
So you want to wine and dine them.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like you're there. It's like you want to have them like feeling special because again, influencers, especially the good ones, they receive tens of requests every single day. Imagine it's similar in a way to when you try to pitch something to a journalist. If you make it personal, you make it like, tailored on their needs, they're going to get back to you. If instead you go to a journalist and say like, hey, a really cold email about pitching, something, they won't even reply to you. The same is also for influencers. You don't want to tell them like, you're going to get paid this fixed amount and this is it. This is the promo code. Like, again, you want to show them that you took the time to look at their profile, and that's already make like a huge difference. Do one email by one email. There are like also ways to make automatic email where you can do some part of the message that is automatic and dynamic.
You want to personalize it.
Yeah, tailored on their need, on their like them and everything.
And also engage with their social medias because you want to see how they respond, because at the end of the day, you're expecting them to do that organically for a brand. Exactly. So you want to see how that person responds and interact with their audience.
100%. What I would do all the time, do not only check the organic content, so not only like those videos or photos about their daily life, go and check how they crafted like the message around the promoted post and see also the sentiment analysis of their audience on those promoted posts to see is the audience liking this promoted post or not, first of all, okay? And what's the sentiment analysis about that? And also, as you correctly said, how these influencers are replying to their audience related to a certain product, because you want to see how they're going to communicate, about certain, like promotionals. So again, it's really time consuming. I'm not going to lie, it takes time. But again, if you want to do things properly and correctly and having a good ROI on that type of campaign, you should like analyze, the people that are going to work with.
Of course. And also something really important to analyze is for who else they're working for who else they're doing sponsor content. You don't want someone neither that is your competitor or something that it doesn't align with the same values that your company does. Because something that I always talk about is the core beliefs, and that you need to always be respecting those in your branding, even if you're using an influencer. You need to align with those influencers.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, some of these platforms allows you to see if these influencers already spoke or mentioned another competitor in the past. So you can definitely run an analysis on that. And also, as you said, it's important to understand if there's like there is a matching between the influencers and the value, of the brand. And, you can do that like in different ways, but one way is also to see if in the organic post in the past, they maybe already mentioned the brand without being paid. That means that, one example that I can think of is one of the talents that we represent. He was already a big fan of Dunkin', okay? And then he got brand deals from Dunkin', where we helped, these influencers to get paid by Dunkin'. And what happened is that before he was already talking about Dunkin' in an organic way. So the following, knew that the the promoted posts were actually something authentic, because he was already in love with the brand before.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can find someone that maybe already tag your store, your brand, whatever, on Instagram, on or mention that on YouTube or on TikTok, you can reach out and say, hey, I saw that you already actually talking about my brand. Do you want to do something with us? And you already know that person is going to be a good one, because they were already in love with your brand, even without being paid. So that's already a good start.
Let's talk about something important. Yes. Let's talk about money.
Okay.
Who makes the first move? The company, the influencer?
So again, it depends. I'd say how professional is the influencer. As you said, when you mentioned about the media kit, the most professional ones have a media kit with a certain sort of pricing table, depending on the deliverables, right? You can always negotiate, be respectful for to the influencer. You have to recognize that is a full-time job, especially for the majority, that are doing that. So you cannot go with a lower ball, just saying a counter offer that doesn't make sense. If the person is asking you $10,000 for a post, you cannot go back and say I have $500. You can always negotiate, but it's a good question. I'd say that it really depends by the type of brand, okay? There are some brands that have a specific budget in mind, and they maybe want to find a combination of 10 different influencers. And so they propose, okay, a potential pricing based on historical data, similar influencers that they're working with in the past, and so on, Mm-hmm. But also on the other side, there could be the influencers that while replying, is usually you should ask them what is your requested pricing for the type of deliverables. And if they have already in price in mind, again, you can negotiate. So it depends. How big is the client? Who has the leverage in the conversation? If Nike asks you certain things and you're maybe a smaller influencer, of course, Nike is going to have leverage on you, But if you're a smaller brand with a bigger influencer, the influencer is the one with a lot of requests. So they can have leverage and say, I want this price. If not, I'm not going to go, work with you.
I think there is a message here that where you were saying that you need to approach the influencer as a person and get to know that person, but also you can get them your brand story, because I have a lot of clients that they are not that big and mm-hmm. they still want to work with an influencer, and it's okay to tell them, listen, this is what I do, this is what I have, this is what I can get, this is what you can get from me. We can collaborate maybe, and maybe if this post works, next post we can do more. Maybe there are a lot of values and beliefs that influencers might align with, because it's one hand helps the other.
Absolutely. Again, you don't be afraid to even try, because again, if it doesn't work, okay, they will not reply to you by email, but that's it. At least you tried, The only thing that I want to say all the time is try to get to a pricing that, again, doesn't offend the influencer, because I saw in the past, especially maybe smaller businesses that didn't really have maybe an idea, right, of how to really price an influencer. And again, you don't want really to offend the other person in front of you, because in that, if you give them maybe a really lower price, they might see oh, you don't value my work. On the other side, do not pay just because, pay the right amount that you think, it's going to bring.
It had to be a return of investment. Sometimes your return of investment is just of brand awareness, but you need to make sure that for you it works. About offending, I think that if that's the only thing you can offer, it's okay to offer it, but you need to tell the story behind it.
Yes.
And why, not just put a number there, because that there is where you're burning a bridge. Never burn bridges. You never know where their life will take you.
Oh yeah, especially with influencers.
Yeah. Hey, Alessandro, it was so great to have you today in Coffee Number 5. And today, people, you got to choose sexy accents instead of one. So thank you again for being here and give us all this information. And everyone, I will see you sometime this week or next week. Who knows? All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. If you like the show, remember to leave a review. I will really appreciate it. If you want to know more about marketing and myself, follow me on Instagram. My handle is Lara Schmoisman. It was so good to have you here today. See you next time. Catch you on the flip side. Ciao, ciao.